So, picture this, it's just another Tuesday or maybe a Wednesday war, it turns out, doesn't really care about your weekend plans. Along some godforsaken road, probably riddled with potholes that could swallow a small car, rumbles a semi-truck. Nothing to see here, right? Just your average everyday hauler, probably carrying, I don't know, a heroic amount of instant noodles or perhaps a lifetime supply of slightly damp socks. That's the beauty of it, the sheer unadulterated blandness. This wasn't some high-tech neon glowing war machine screaming, "I'm on a secret mission." No, this was the vehicular equivalent of a guy in a beige cardigan. Absolutely forgettable. And that, my friends, was precisely the point. This whole operation, you see, hinged on the art of blending in, of being so mind-numbingly ordinary that no one would bother to look twice. Think about the resources, the sheer audacity poured into making something look like it's carrying mundane cargo when, in reality, it's a hornet's nest on wheels. The enemy expects threats from the sky, from missile silos, from heavily armed battalions. They're probably not expecting Ivan the truck driver, who looks like he hasn't slept since the Cold War started, to be secretly chauffeuring a technological nightmare. It's the kind of misdirection that would make a magician blush, a real-life sleight of hand with stakes that couldn't be higher. The brilliance, if you can call orchestrating potential mayhem brilliant, and let's be honest, in the twisted logic of warfare it kind of is, lies in its simplicity. Why build a billion-dollar stealth bomber when you can modify a vehicle that's already clogging up the highways by the thousands? It's cost-effective, it's sneaky, and it preys on the most human of failings assumption. We assume a truck is just a truck, we assume the danger is obvious, but in this new age of conflict, the deadliest threats might just be hiding in plain sight, disguised as the utterly unremarkable, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal their true, terrifying purpose. And so these unassuming semi-trucks, potentially 5 of them, according to the whispers, became the chariots of a very modern, very quiet kind of war. They were the wolves in sheep's clothing, the silent predators inching closer to their targets. Each kilometre they covered, each checkpoint they passed without incident, was a small victory in a much larger, much more clandestine game. The drivers, whoever they were, must have had nerves of absolute steel, or maybe they just really, really needed the work. Either way, they were piloting a revolution in asymmetric warfare, one dusty mile at a time, proving that the next big threat might not announce itself with a bang, but with the quiet rumble of a diesel engine. All right, let's peel back the metaphorical and probably literal tarpaulin on these bad boys. What made these trucks more than just innocent freight haulers? Well, it wasn't a hidden compartment full of surprisingly good borscht, I can tell you that. Inside these specially modified trailers, things got very interesting, very fast. Imagine the scene. The trailer's unassuming exterior gives way to a meticulously organized high-tech launch bay. We're talking rows upon rows of drones, not just any drones, but the Mark 5 II models, compact 10-inch terrors, each capable of carrying a payload of around 10 pounds. That's enough to ruin an oligarch's very expensive picnic, or more strategically, a multi-million-dollar aircraft. The engineering behind this setup was something else. The trailer wasn't just a box, it was a sophisticated launch platform. Think about it, a custom-built system where the roof, or perhaps a section of it, would smoothly open, not with some rusty crank, but with sleek hydraulic arms. Whoosh! Suddenly what looked like a container for bulk grain is revealing its spiky electronic innards. 25 of these drones nestled neatly in their launch positions, ready to go. This wasn't some slapped-together backyard operation. This was carefully planned, meticulously designed, and built for a single destructive purpose. It's like those magic transforming toys, but instead of a robot, you get a swarm of angry, explosive mosquitoes. The drones themselves, these Mark V2S, were the stars of the show, of course, small enough to be difficult to detect, yet potent enough to cause significant damage. They weren't autonomous killing machines sent off with a prayer. Oh no, that would be too simple, too impersonal. These were reportedly flown individually in real time by operators likely stationed a safe distance away, perhaps a mile or so, using good old-fashioned analog signals. Analog! In an age of digital everything, they went analog, possibly to counter sophisticated electronic jamming. It's like fighting a cyber war with a telegraph key, and somehow it's brilliant. So you have these 5 trucks, each a self-contained arsenal, a mobile hornet's nest. The sheer logistical challenge of coordinating these units, getting them into position without raising suspicion, and then ensuring the launch mechanisms worked flawlessly, is mind-boggling. Each trailer, a testament to ingenuity and a desperate need to innovate in the face of overwhelming odds. It's a stark reminder that warfare is evolving, and the next big threat might not come from a traditional military base, but from the back of a truck that just yesterday might have delivered your online shopping. Scary, right? Or maybe just a really, really bad day for airbase security. The planning phase for an operation like this must have been a masterclass in paranoia and meticulous detail. You don't just drive 5 heavily armed semi-trucks towards sensitive enemy airfields on a whim. This required intelligence, knowing where the targets were, identifying Russian bombers or other high-value aircraft, and understanding the airfield defenses. It meant finding routes that were less monitored, drivers who could blend in, and timing the whole shebang to perfection. Every detail, from fuel calculations to the coffee preferences of the drone pilots, probably decaf, you need steady hands, would have been scrutinized. This wasn't just about sending a message, it was about delivering it with pinpoint accuracy. As the trucks reached their predetermined positions, likely under the cover of darkness or the chaos of a distracted world, the real tension would have begun. Imagine the scene. 5 separate teams, miles apart, all working in concert. The hydraulic lids of the trailers hiss open, revealing their deadly cargo to the night sky. One by one, or perhaps in small salvos, the Mark 5 drones would take flight. Each drone, a tiny harbinger of destruction guided by a human hand miles away, its analog signal a fragile thread connecting pilot to machine. Their targets, not just any part of the airfield, but the expensive, hard-to-replace strategic aircraft parked on the tarmac. The execution of the attack was a ballet of stealth and precision. These weren't massive bombing runs designed to level entire areas. Instead, these were surgical strikes, aiming to cripple the enemy's air power by taking out key assets. The drones, being small and likely flying at low altitudes, would have been incredibly difficult for traditional air defense systems to detect and intercept, especially if they were part of a larger coordinated swarm, attacking multiple locations simultaneously. The first sign of trouble for the airbase personnel might have been the sound of an unexpected explosion, then another and another, as the 10-pound payloads found their marks. Panic, confusion, and the sudden horrifying realization that they were under attack from an unseen enemy. The goal was clear: inflict maximum damage on valuable military hardware, disrupt operations, and sow chaos far behind enemy lines. By targeting Russian bombers and other critical aircraft, the operation aimed to degrade Russia's ability to project air power and conduct its own long-range missions. Each successful hit wasn't just a material loss, it was a psychological blow, demonstrating a vulnerability that was previously unimaginable. The idea that a simple-looking truck could unleash such devastation would send shivers down the spines of military planners everywhere. It's one thing to guard against missiles, it's another to guard against the delivery van parked down the street. The immediate aftermath of these coordinated drone strikes on Russian airfields was predictably chaotic and costly. Reports would have trickled in of explosions, burning aircraft, and damaged infrastructure. While the exact number of destroyed Russian bombers and other planes might be subject to the fog of war and propaganda, the impact was undeniable. We're talking about potentially crippling blows to Russia's strategic air capabilities, with financial losses that could easily run into the billions, considering the cost of modern military aircraft and the infrastructure needed to support them. Airfields, once considered relatively secure rear areas, were suddenly vulnerable front lines. Flights would be grounded, operations suspended, and a frantic search for answers and culprits would begin. Beyond the immediate physical destruction, the geopolitical implications were and are enormous. This wasn't just another skirmish, this was a bold statement. It demonstrated Ukraine's growing sophistication in asymmetric warfare, its ability to project power deep into enemy territory using ingenuity and relatively low-cost technology. For Russia, it was a significant embarrassment and a serious security breach, forcing a major rethink of its domestic air defenses. For the international community, it was yet another alarming escalation, showcasing how drone technology is democratizing warfare, allowing smaller, less conventionally powerful actors to inflict serious damage on larger adversaries. The rulebook of war, already pretty tattered, just had another few pages ripped out. The psychological impact cannot be overstated either. For the Russian military and populace, the idea that Ukrainian drones launched from unassuming trucks could strike strategic air bases so effectively would be deeply unsettling. It shatters any illusion of invincibility or safety far from the front lines. Conversely, for Ukrainians, such an operation would serve as a massive morale booster, a testament to their resilience and innovative spirit. It's the David and Goliath narrative playing out with circuit boards and high explosives. This kind of success, even if shrouded in secrecy, fuels the will to fight and inspires further innovation in the face of a numerically superior foe. Ultimately, operations like these secret drone attacks have the potential to significantly alter the long-term trajectory of the Ukraine-Russia conflict and even global military strategy. They highlight the increasing importance of drone technology, electronic warfare, and counter-drone measures. Future conflicts will likely see more of these clandestine, low-cost, high-impact attacks. It forces nations to consider new vulnerabilities and invest in different kinds of defenses. The era of the easily concealed mobile launch platform is here, and it means that no target is truly safe, no matter how far it is from the traditional battlefield. The game has changed, and the humble semi-truck, it turns out, can be a surprisingly effective weapon of war. Who knew?